Hey folks, now we're going to go into dual, kind of using that low amp probe and match it up to some voltage signals too. So let's go ahead and get started. All right, like I said before, we're going to actually use a dual channel for these waveforms, and we're going to look at some low amp current probes with it. So we're going to stack a voltage and a low amp current, the low amp current probe. And this is actually a good pattern, and I'm going to give you some good patterns. And you notice how the spike goes off the scale. That is normal. So we're actually matching up ignition, primary with the actual secondary. So you can actually add spikes off the scale right there. So that actually helps. And you're seeing about 180 volts versus 8 amps. So that really helps you. Hey, is it working? If I didn't have that 180 volt spike, then which you're in conductive kick, then I would start saying, I got a problem here, folks. And then here's that multi-strike. You can actually see how it's a little bit different. You can actually start seeing how that top waveform is actually the current and the lower is the voltage. Notice how the first two strikes come in and then it kind of tapers off. Well, that's because the actual coil is not completely discharged yet on the first two strikes. This is kind of normal for actually the 3-strike systems on the Ford. Oh, multi-strike, I'm sorry. And then we have a V10. You can actually see we can actually match that up, looking at different patterns, and we can actually see that we're all the ramps can be done if the power and the ground source of the coil actually the coils has the probe around it. Now this is where it gets to be kind of fun, because you can start lining up the actual amperage versus the voltage. So remember, we're looking at the voltage, and then we start looking at the injectors going off, so a little bit of a downward spike into it. And then here's an idle air control. This is common. We can actually look at the voltage versus the amperage. And this is the old idle air controls. We don't use those as much, but you might still have some older vehicles out there. So this is kind of toggling how it toggles back and forth. And we're looking at the amperage and also the voltage. This is an actual injector, typical fuel injector primary on it. So we can actually look at the voltage again. So we got about, the top is about 0.9 amps. And then we can actually look at that, and then we can look at the milliseconds, and we can actually see how that air got gulped in there, and it actually changed the ramping of it. So this is very, very, very common. You can actually see this one here. This is a typical waveform that we have on an injector with a limiting current. Remember, I talked about don't get totally messed up with the current limiting. Some people actually I didn't spike off the screen. Well, this is a normal one. And we can actually match that up with the current versus the actual voltage on it too. And then we actually have a Land Rover here. It's a 6-cylinder Land Rover. This we can actually see how it sequentially matches off. This one is actually a 6-cylinder, so that makes it kind of fun to look at. You can watch the actual injector voltages versus the actual amperage as you go along. And then the last one I have here for you right now is the current limiting, a current ramp of the actual 4 fuel injectors. And we have a normal voltage signal on the bottom, and then we have the current ramps on the top. So this really, if you match them up, that gives you a better idea of how the system is actually doing. All right, that's all for now. If you like this content, please like and subscribe. That lets me know that you're enjoying the content and actually pushes me to put more videos out as soon as I can. Soon I'll be going out into the lab and I'll show you some of the hookups as we go along. And I'll try to use a couple or at least one or two different lab scopes to show you how you can do it. And hopefully this will help you decide what kind of lab scope you can want to get, and or you might want to consider some of the less expensive and move up and migrate to a more expensive lab scope as you go and get your skills up. So start basic and work yourself up. Okay, that's all for now. Like and subscribe, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye for now.